Hey guys, the Intel Extreme processors, well, the price certainly was extreme, the performance not so much. You would usually get a small premium, but the main aspect of the Extreme processors was being able to get the fastest and sort of having some bragging rights. As for me, I was more looking at the budget processors, and back in those days you could easily overclock, for example, an X6600 to match the performance of the Core 2 Extreme X6800. The hobby of retro PC gaming is awesome. A huge aspect is going back in time and rebuilding the machines that we had during our childhood or teenage years to experience those happy memories. But another big aspect, and what I find really exciting, is to be able to buy for cheap some of the parts that back in the day we couldn't afford and we only dreamt about. And the X6800 is one of these processors. A few years back I bought one from eBay. It came out of England. I paid £25 and that converts to just over 40 Australian dollars. We are using the Wayback Machine to go back in time. It is September of 2006 and this is the ScorpTech website. So here in Australia we have a bunch of PC stores and ScorpTech is one of the big players. So here we have the CPUs for socket 775 and we can see them all here. Pentium 4s, Celerons, and look at that, the old Pentium Extreme Edition 965 for 1,499 Australian dollars. But all the way down here we've got the Core 2 Extreme X6800. You get a free Intel watch and you're looking at 1,650 Australian dollars. When the Core 2 launched, it destroyed all the previous Intel as well as AMD CPUs. Here we have some gaming benchmarks from Anantech. Quake 4, we can see all the Core 2s leading the pack with the Extreme Edition right at the top. In Battlefield 2, we can also see the same result. And in Half-Life 2, the Core 2 architecture is also right at the top. If you are enjoying this video, consider supporting me through Patreon. You get a lot of benefits, including access to our Discord server where we share our projects with each other. Our test system today, we have a motherboard from Gigabyte, flashed to the latest F7D better BIOS. We have 2 GB of RAM, DDR2 800, a 240 GB Western Digital Green SSD. For the graphics, a NVIDIA GeForce 9800 GT with the 182.06 NVIDIA drivers. And we also need a sound card. We've got the Sound Blaster ODG with the latest Daniel K drivers. Let's run some benchmarks. In 3D Mark 2001 SE, just over 50,000. In 03, we're getting 36,947, and in 05, 17,661. And here we have our usual benchmarks on the channel. Far Cry is first. We can see some resolution scaling and it tops out at around 140 FPS. Doom 3 also runs really well on this machine, over 170 FPS with a slight weakness at 1600 by 1200. Here the graphics card starts to slow down a little bit. In Half-Life 2 Lost Coast we can see the same picture, over 230 FPS. Once we get to 1280 by 1024 and 1600 by 1200, this is where the video card starts to slow down. And this is Fear, the most demanding game in our benchmark session. With the soft shadows disabled, we can see we are now constrained by the video card. As we ramp up the resolution, the performance goes down, but even at 1600 by 1200, we're getting playable performance with over 100 FPS. So the benchmarks look pretty good. We're getting solid performance, but can it run Crysis? Here we have the game in action running at 1080p. With the details set to high. Now remember, this is Windows XP, 32-bit, the DirectX 9 render. So compared to Vista, we are not getting the maximum details. In terms of performance, we've got Fraps running. You can see the counter at the top left corner. around 20 to 30 FPS, so it's nowhere near silky smooth 60 FPS. Crysis is quite unoptimized and needs a very strong system. This machine does okay, but you might want to lower the details to medium to see it run a little bit better. And now let's check out some games. I have two games that I want to share with you today. The first one is Max Payne 2. This one is slightly older, so this game launched in 2003, whereas the processor is from 2006. But I really wanted to play this one because I recently finished the first Max Payne. You guys seem to love this game. You gave me lots of tips how to play it because I had some complaints about the difficulty. And yeah, I used the strategies you gave me, which is open all the lockers, look for health packs, all the drawers, and you should die. Don't quick load right away when you see like, okay, I'm about to die, because apparently the game has a difficulty that adapts to how you play. And what happened in the first game, as soon as I got hit and I thought, okay, I will not walk away from this, I just hit the quick load button, and basically the algorithm will think you never died and will ramp up the difficulty. So now if it gets hard, I just die, load the previous quick save, and off we go. And all in all, I found this game very enjoyable. The whole experience is a little bit smoother than the last one. The graphics are nicer. I also feel that the controls are a little bit smoother. So the bullet time, the jumping, the rolling, everything works just a little bit better in the first game. From a technical aspect, I created a custom 4:3 resolution in the NVIDIA control panel. So we're running at 1440 by 1080p, which will give us very nice sharp pixels on a 1080p monitor. The game also supports EAX sound, so with the Audigy and with headphones, the sound effects are really nice. Where can you obtain this game for your retro PC? It is available on Steam. I bought it ages ago and it was really easy to get going. So you copy the game folder onto your retro PC and then you just need to find a no CD patch and off you go. That's it. You can play it on your retro PC. So all in all, first impressions, I played around 40 or so minutes. It's very similar to Max Payne, but more polished, and really enjoying it. So it gets the thumbs up, great game, and looking forward to playing more. And Quake 4 is the other game. This one was mentioned in many launch reviews, so I wanted to try it out. It's a game I really haven't played a lot. Maybe just in the beginning, to check out the FPS counter. And this game has some issues with modern GPUs where the VRAM is too large. I believe 1 GB is the cutoff. So if you have a video card with 1 GB VRAM or less, the game will run fine. But on video cards with more RAM, the textures will become blurry and you have to edit some configuration files. I'm not sure if there are other issues. So this is the beauty of a time period correct machine. You don't have to worry about such technical issues. At first I thought, well, this looks very much like Doom 3, but very quickly I found the game a lot more interesting. For example, there is a section in the beginning where you need to backtrack to guide a medic to some injured soldiers, and there's a bit of puzzling going on, and you need to help plant some charges to blow up an enemy aircraft hangar. So I found the game, had a lot more variety than I expected. It's not just a plain shooter, there seems to be a lot more to it. You can turn on the flashlight and it works at the same time while shooting, unlike in Doom 3, and this game is quite dark. So I'm mentioning this because recently I've been playing around with some CRT monitors and shaders and so on, and the current monitor has an IPS panel. One of their weaknesses is the contrast ratio and displaying dark colors, and this is a game where maybe having a VA panel or even better OLED or CRT monitor would be the way to go. For this one, I didn't create a custom 4:3 resolution. We're going with 1600 by 1200. This is the 4K of the retro world, 4:3 aspect ratio and extremely detailed graphics. This game also supports dual core. It has a setting in the options to make sure the second core gives you a benefit, and we have support for EAX, getting some nice reverb going on in this game. So yeah, this is another game I can recommend. The version I'm playing is the GOG version. It has its own executable installer. You just copy that onto a thumb drive or a USB hard drive, and under Windows XP just double click and it installs. You don't need internet, no DRM required, no launcher required. That is the beauty of buying games from GOG. So guys, we had a look at the benchmarks and we checked out a few games, and yeah, they're all running pretty well. Now, Max Payne 2, that game is a little bit older. That runs silky smooth with all the details maxed out. In Quake 4, I did see a few stutters, and at this point, I'm not sure if it's the video card or if it's the processor. So might have to pay some attention with this game and playing it on a few other machines. At the time, the pricing with 999 USD, well, it didn't make sense for me. I'm quite a budget-minded person, and back in those days, overclocking was just the way to go. Grabbing the X6600, changing the frontside bus in the BIOS, maybe a little bit more voltage, and yeah, you had the same speed. But I was able to buy one second-hand for a fairly decent price, and these Extreme Edition processors, in fact, all the highest end parts from a certain era, they will always command a premium, and the way the prices go, it only goes up. So from the performance we could see in this video, and also from the aspect of desirability, it gets a huge thumbs up. It's a fantastic processor. In fact, the entire Intel Core 2 line is absolutely fantastic for retro gaming. Now, should you rush out and buy one? Well, I can't recommend you to do that. There are better options. For example, if you can pick up an E8400, 8500 or 8600, these processors are faster, cooler, and you will spend less than trying to hunt down one of these Extreme Edition processors. And in terms of working with this platform, well, most of you love LGA 775. It is so stable, mature. There are so many mainboards, chipsets and processors, DDR2 or DDR3. It's comfortable with Windows XP, even Windows 98 in some situations, as well as Vista 7 and even Windows 10. It is a really beautiful platform for the hobby of retro PC gaming. And now I want to hear from you. What is your take on these Extreme Edition processors from Intel? The same goes for the FX chips that AMD launched at a similar price point. And if you think only Intel was selling CPUs for a premium, well, the same thing happened with AMD when they had the Athlon 64 and they had the best gaming CPUs. Well, their flagship processors also cost 999 USD. So yeah, that's why we need a competitive market. And the good news is for us retro PC gamers, prices are not too bad, especially for LGA 775. Prices are actually really favorable. It seems to be around the 10-year mark. That's where you get really good prices. So there you have it, guys. That was my take on the Core 2 Extreme X6800. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you soon with another one.